Hey there, and welcome to Tuesdays at 2. It's Melinda with the Coaches Console, and we're back for another great topic. Today's topic is all about coaching packages. People are always asking us, do I charge per session? Do I charge per hour? Do I charge per project? How do I package things? So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the different ways you can package your services. I'm going to share our best practices for what we have experienced in this industry and what we believe to be the ideal scenario. And we're going to give you the pros and cons of each so that you can really research this for your business and find out what is the best approach for your business. So we're going to talk about coaching packages in the first part of the training. In the middle section of today's training, we're going to go for another hot seat topic. We've got Svea with us with kind of a related topic for her hot seat. And then at the tail end of the training, we're going to do live Q&A, whether it's about today's feature topic or the hot seat conversation that we get into. Whatever questions you have about your business or your system, be greedy with me. I'm here to answer those so that you can continue to move forward in your business. So let's get moving with the topic today. So it's all about coaching packages. Now, in your console system, let's see, how do I want to show it to you? There's a couple of ways that I'll show it from the billing module. So in the billing module, you have the agreements section. And I'm just going to take one of the existing agreements, this Jumpstart coaching package. You can set up an agreement in your console system with a pre-configured template. And you'll see when you first go into your console system, I mean, you can see in this training account, I've customized a lot of templates here. But when you first go into your console system, you'll see that we provide you with some blank agreement templates. And we set them up per session if you're charging per session, if you're charging per month for your services, if you're charging per hour or per project. So I just want to talk, this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each of these, and then I'll share our best practices with you. So a lot of folks that come into the coaching industry come in from a consulting background, a therapy type of background, a practitioner type of background, where charging by the hour is common practice, okay? And so you might say, I charge X dollars per hour, and you can choose to have people sign up for a certain block of hours with you, or they can just hire you by the hour. I know I was working with looking at working with like a writing coach / editor for a book that I'm thinking about doing. And she simply charged by the hour. Because with something like that, there's so many variations. It depends on the book topic. It depends on how much I get done. It depends on the depth that we go to. It depends on how much I lean on her to do the editing and polishing of it versus me. And so there's no way that she can say, I can help you write your book in this, because she's doing more than just coaching. She's actually rolling up her sleeves and working on the book with me. So she found her best model was by the hour. Here's my hourly rate. And then she gave me kind of a typical range. It usually takes X hours, between X and X hours, to complete this kind of project, but it really depends on me and the degree that I work with her. So she charged by the hour, just an hourly rate, and she gave me kind of an expectation of what it probably will run, but I have no idea. And then she just racks up the hours. However many hours I work with her, she bills me each month for the hours I put in. However many months it takes us to complete it, she just keeps charging me, and it's simply by the hour. So with something like that, because she was rolling up her sleeves and actually doing some of the work, it was way beyond just coaching. She was actually doing it. Like, she was receiving my content, editing it, typing it, giving me responses. By the hour was ideal for her practice and her business model. Okay, so there's by the hour. Then there's per session. Again, a lot of folks that are in the consulting background or training background, or that come from a therapy background, Per session is also another common model that people are used to in that world, in those industries, right? It's a flat rate per session. And again, same kind of thing with by the hour. You can charge for a block of sessions or just by the session. Okay. There's going to be similar scenarios when it's by the session, as to why you would want to use that as you would per hour. Like if you're going to be really involved, per session is where that can be beneficial. The other thing that I would throw out there is to really know your clientele, right? If your clientele, if you come from a therapy background, I'll continue to use that as an example. It's not the only example, but if you've been a therapist and you have clients that are used to working in that therapy model where they sign up by the session and they pay by the session, and you begin to add in coaching into your business model. So you do both some therapy work and you also do some coaching in addition. It might be hard for your clients to switch their mindset and begin to pay you differently because they're used to paying you by the session. So just keep having them pay you by the session. So if your ideal client is used to that kind of structure, by the hour, by the session, paying for your time, then you're going to have the easiest time converting clients if you keep that same structure. Okay. Then there's the per month. Over the past, I would say, I don't have a definitive time frame on this, but I would say when I first started coaching, 12 years ago, holy schmoly, 12 years ago, when I first started coaching 12 years ago, there was a huge switch from pricing by the hour, by the session, and charging by the month. So about 12 years ago, up until I would say about 3 to 4 years ago, the main model that coaches were using were charging by the month. It's going to be $600 per month. And with that, you get 3 coaching sessions, this, and this, right? So it's per month type of a business model. And then a few years ago, I don't know exactly when, I know we started teaching it 3 years ago. So it's probably a little longer than that. We call it per project or in packages. Instead of pricing your services based on time, because that's what these first 3 are based on, whether it's per session, per month, or per hour. These are all based on time. Somebody's going to pay you for a certain amount of your time. And the interesting thing about that model is they have to feel like they're getting value for what they're paying for your time. They're paying for your time. So they have to understand and feel like they're getting a good value for what they're paying, right? They're also, you hit this limit because you have a finite amount of time that you can dedicate to client work. Now, sure, you can leverage your time. You can, instead of working one-on-one, you can work with groups, and you might have several dozen people or a few hundred people in groups. So you can begin to really optimize your time, but you still have a finite amount of time, and you're going to hit a cap when you charge by time, either per hour, per month, or per session. When you charge your services and you position and offer your services based on a time model, you're going to hit a cap. When you don't have any more time, you don't make any more money. So it can also be, in the long run, it can be very limiting of a mindset and a business model. The per project or packages is the other phrase that we use. Now what people are investing in is results, right? And this is more in alignment with the Pain Island and Pleasure Island that we talk about, the Pain Island challenges that your ideal client has and the Pleasure Island results that your ideal client wants. That's what people invest in, really. They don't invest in your time. If they're going to invest in your time, they're going to make sure they're paying the least amount of money for the greatest amount of your time. And so that's the other thing that we notice is the per session, per month, per hour it kind of evokes this, Kate and I call it this niggling effect, where they kind of nickel and dime you. It's like, I want to get the biggest bang for the least amount of bucks that I can spend. That's what happens. And so they're trying to make sure that it's the cheapest and most cost effective route. So what happens with that time for money model? With the projects or the packages, people are investing in the results. They're investing in getting off Pain Island and stopping the challenges in their life, and they're investing in once and for all getting the results that they know is possible. And people are willing to invest in results. That's what people are saying yes to. And what we found over the last several years is when you price your services in packages or per project, it's a number one, it's an easier enrollment conversation to have. Number two, you're going to be able to really charge what you're worth based on the results that you help people accomplish. And number three, you can over deliver, because when you're trading time for money, you're just giving your time, right? It's a certain number of sessions or a certain amount of time that they get for the money they pay you. When it's in a package or a project, they're paying a set fee. And then you can give them a long laundry list of stuff that they receive when they make that investment in that result. So it has this sensation of over delivering. So you're able to over deliver and being very generous with what you include in the package and the pricing. Okay. So we recommend the per project type of template. Now, sometimes, like with the per month, let me show you. So here's a per month. I've set this agreement up already, my Jumpstart package per month. And you can outline the expectations. It typically runs for 3 months. Maybe not always. Some people might get it done quicker. Some people might take longer. How many sessions per month can they expect to have? Again, typically you can outline the expectations. Typically it's 3 sessions a month. And we're going to spend 40 minutes together when we have our sessions. And you can do a monthly rate. When you read this monthly rate, it's read as an installment. So 3 installments of $700. Or if they want to pay in full, they can, $2,100, or they might get a discount, right? You might offer a discount if they pay in full. Okay. So when you're setting up your coaching packages, you might technically use that monthly template, the per month template, like you see here. And the monthly rate, those are the installments that they're paying. And the mindset shift that I want you to have is they're not paying. So if somebody, for example, let's just use this coaching package here, this agreement in front of us. This is a $2,100 coaching package, right? When somebody says yes to you, they're saying yes to $2,100. They're investing $2,100 with you. And then there's 2 ways they can pay it. So the price of the package is one thing, $2,100, but then you are giving them the courtesy of having 2 options for paying. They can pay in full, and if they pay in full, it's also customary or a best practice to give them a discount. A 10% savings is ideal. And say, you know what, if you want to pay in full, you can save some money and you'll get a 10% savings, right? Or if cash flow is more important, then you can pay in 3 installments. So each of the 3 months that we're working together, you can make an equal monthly installment of $700. So it's not that they're paying you $700 this month, and then they're going to see how next month goes and pay you $700 next month, and then see how the following month goes and then pay you $700. No, when they agree to work with you, they're agreeing to the $2,100 package. They may choose the payment option to pay $700 per month for 3 installments. So it's a mindset shift. And if Kate were on the phone, I should have had her come on for this topic today. This is one that because she spent so many years, when she first started the coaching industry, it was per session and per hour, and she switched to per month. And it was just ingrained in us. You sell your time for money. $700 a month for 3 months. That's how we sold our coaching. $700 a month for 3 months. and you get 3 sessions each month. And it was so ingrained in her that it took a long time to switch that paradigm. It's like, no, they're not paying $700 a month for 3 months. The mindset shift is they're paying $2,100. We're giving them the courtesy of making 3 separate installments, and we're going to be the bank for them so that they don't have to come up with all the money and they can watch their cash flow. And by the way, we're not charging any interest for that either, right? So it's a mindset shift, okay? So I really want you to look at, are you trading time for money? And if you are, is that in alignment with your business and with the type of clients that you serve? If it is, great. Charge per session, per hour. It can be a very lucrative business model. But if not, I'd really encourage you to look at charging by the package and then giving them the opportunity for 2 different payment options. Okay. And you'll see in the contract terms, we upload a sample agreement for you in your console system, and you can use it as you wish. Check with your attorneys to make sure it's covers you with the work you do and where you're located. And one of the examples that you'll see, let me scroll down here. When it gets to the system of money, let me just make my screen a little bit bigger so you guys can really see this. Hang on. There we go. When it gets to the system of money, it's the total agreement is $2,100. That's what they're agreeing to. And then you have 2 choices as to how you pay. You can do the pay in full and have a 10% savings, or you can pay each month, 3 installment. And some people will call this the installment option, right? Either way. And it says, here's how much you're going to pay each month. And you list that out. And then they choose which option is most ideal for them. The other cool thing about this is you give them a choice. When you give the buyer a choice, that's a really powerful enrollment conversation to have. Yes and no answers are difficult enrollment conversations, but when you give them a choice and they are in the driver's seat of the enrollment conversation, it's a much more effective conversation, getting to a really clear answer about do they hire you or not, and what's the best way for them to hire you, right? And so when you say, there's 2 different options you can choose in working with me. Some of my clients like to pay in full and save money. When you do that, you'll get a 10% savings. Other clients, cash flow is important, and I have an installment option, and you can break this into 3 equal monthly installments. And then in your enrollment conversation, by positioning it this way, you're able to say, if you were to say yes to coaching, which would be most appropriate for you? Which one would you like the most? Which one of these options is most attractive to you? And you can use that if statement, if, not that you've made a decision or not, but if you were to say yes to coaching, which one of these options is more attractive to you? And you get them into the buying conversation and clarifying and breaking down that buying process into smaller steps. Okay. Terry has a question. Terry says, my 6-month coaching package will be an initial 90-minute session, 2 60-minute sessions per month, plus another 60-minute assessment and planning session at the 3-month mark. Billing will be a package price with an option to make monthly payments. Would you suggest in the agreement template I just say 2 sessions per month, or is there a way to also include the other beginning and midpoint sessions? That's a great question, Terry. And in your agreement, I would spell out just in bullet points exactly what they get. So I'll use this template, right? You might have your own written contract that you use, but I'll use the template that we pre-upload into the console system. Under the optimal experience right here, you can say, our coaching system, or you can say the exact language. This 6-month coaching package will include, right? And so if I were to write that out, it would this 6-month coaching package will include, and just bullet it out, right? And you said initial 90-minute session, 2 60-minute sessions per month, 60-minute midpoint session, and you called that a midpoint assessment and planning session at the 3-month mark. And whatever it is that they get, right? So I would bullet that out. And when you, for example, Terry, when you say the initial 90-minute session, I would say for what? Or give it a name, like the initial discovery 90-minute session, or the initial 90-minute strategy and goal setting session. I would give it some descriptor so that they know, oh, that's what that is and why it's longer. Here, you just list 2 60-minute sessions per month. Another way that we see this listed is, so 12, hang on, 12 60-minute sessions, so that it's about the total package. And what you do is 2 sessions per month in parentheses. So that'd be another way to list that. And then the 60-minute midpoint assessment and planning session. So anything else that they get, you would include it. The other thing that I would always include, so it's not just about time. Again, we don't want to make this time for money. It's about the optimal coaching experience, right? So I would private, I'm having a hard time with my keyboard. Well, hold on. There we go. Private client portal, client log, and I might describe what that is for access in between each session for secure online, right? Whatever else you might include in that package, I would bullet it out here in addition to your time, okay? And Terry says, I do spell it out in the written agreement. Great. In the billing template in the console. In the billing template, there's no need to spell it out. You have the written, so when you're talking about in the invoicing, for example, when you're going through the invoicing, there's no need for you to spell that out because the billing is simply what billing option they chose. If they choose monthly, then it's going to be X dollars a month, flat out, done. So you don't need to spell that out. Now, some people, a caveat that I'll say to that is if you do work with a lot of corporations, depending on what their internal process is, sometimes corporations need a line item detailed invoice. It can't just say 6-month coaching package, X dollars. It has to be a line item invoice. And so you could, if you needed to, or your client needed you to, you can include a client note. And you could spell out, the initial 90-minute session, the 2 60-minute, and you can spell it out. And I would just recap the whole package on every one of your invoices. So you could include a note, but it's not necessary. You don't need to do that. Just bullet it out and detail it out in the agreement itself. Okay. So that's the coaching agreement and the kind of the pros and cons of per session, per hour, per project, per month, which one's right for you and how to use it and what we recommend. So that's the feature of today. So just kind of review and make sure that you are not undercutting your services, you're not leaving money on the table, and you're making it as easy and really irresistible for your clients to say yes to you through the way you structure your coaching agreements. The one reason that we teach the per project and pricing your coaching services in a package is because it's all about them. The per month, per hour, per session is how much time they get with you. It's your time. The per package is all about them and the results. You really emphasize the results with that. Um, so it's really just a mindset shift, but it makes a significant difference in your enrollment conversations, conversions, and your bottom line. Okay. All right. Let's switch over to Svea. I'm going to unmute you, and we should be able to hear you. Are you there? Let's see. Svea, can you hear? Or
Yep, I'm
hear
here.
you? Okay, excellent. So you are going for round 2 on your hot seat. And I got your hot seat topic and a couple of main points about it. I'll hit the main points, and then if you want to just kind of really hone in on exactly what you want to get out of the hot seat. In your topic, you talked about managing the issue of working with clients in different currencies, right? You are not in the United States. So pricing in US dollars is one thing, but how do you work with clients in different currencies? So that's kind of one piece of your hot seat. And then you were asking about, do we put our prices on the website? Do we not? What's the best way to do that? So with this hot seat, what do you want to most get out of this hot seat?
I think that, Melinda, the main thing is, I think, really about perception management.
Okay.
Okay, and so the easy answer is keep the prices off the website, off, and deal with each client individually. But that really is anti-automation from my perspective. So would it be useful to give a small example to make it more concrete?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, well, recently we've been talking in South Africa, which is where I am, about renewal of ICF memberships.
Mm-hmm.
And what we discovered was that the equivalent would be it would cost people in the US 2.5 times what they currently pay for a Big Mac if they were paying what we pay in the equivalent for our ICF memberships as coaches. And the question that we asked, of course, to the US was, if you had to tell your members to pay 2.5 times what they currently pay, do you think that you would still have the same number of members? Now, that's it's a perception management issue. So for me, the question is, I run supervision packages, I run coaching packages and mentor coaching packages, and I really am in a quandary about how to most effectively combine the joy of an automated system with the reality that if I charge my South African Rand amount to people in a strong currency, I have no doubt in my mind, because I've checked that out, that they think this is a service not worth engaging with because there's something wrong with the pricing, it's far too low. So their assumption is the quality is bad. If I do it the other way around and charge US dollars, then local people and people in currencies like in South America and some of the Eastern European countries will just go, this is completely beyond what I can pay. So I'm sure there's some simple, smart, clever way through this, but it's eluding me at the moment.
So it's a great example. And just to make it even more concrete, what's the most popular package or your signature package that you sell a majority of the time?
Look, the group supervision for coaches sells semester on semester.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's becoming very popular now is the 10-hour mentor coaching, ICF mentor coaching, get credentialed package that I offer, which is obviously 3 months minimum duration. Sometimes it goes for longer than that.
Okay, and so
But
let's
there's a real
take.
interest, and sorry, that gets more complicated even because the mentor coaching is done in groups. And so then you've got these people who all want to be in one group. They love the idea of it being international, and you've got all these different people who then compare notes about what are you paying in dollars and what am I paying in
Hmm.
sterling and what are you paying in Singapore dollars. And it just gets, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, the easy answer is let them all pay in US dollars, but that knocks out some of the significant. I really would like to be of service to people who are not in a position to pay the US dollar rate.
Yep. So let's kind of break this apart. So let's set the 10 hour, the mental coaching off to the side for a second, because you're right. There's added. That's a unique scenario with added complexities. But let's take your group supervision for coaches, right? And so what's your current pricing structure for that?
Do you really want me to go public on this?
If you want to, you don't have to. But the more concrete we can make it,
Okay.
the better it is for you. You do not have to
Okay.
share anything. Absolutely not.
No, no, no. I mean, it's just that I feel sort of partly kind of embarrassed. It's on the coaches console at the moment.
Well,
So
here,
I've just sent you the link
hang on one
in the
second.
thingy.
We'll just use, hang on, let me just do something.
Okay.
Hang on.
I mean,
Okay.
it will be very useful to get a
Okay.
view.
So then are you willing to do it?
Yeah, of
You don't
course.
mind? Okay. So then, let
Oh.
me, what did you just send me? Tell me again.
I sent you a link in the chat which takes you directly to the page at the bottom of which are US, Australian dollar, South African rand, euro, and UK sterling amounts.
So there's the dates. Okay, so I'm going to show this. So at the bottom of her web page, we've got it
Yeah,
listed. So what she has here is
yeah,
a sales page, right? So she's created a sales page on her console system. Nice. And it gives all the ins and outs of what the program is. It gives all the dates and all that kind of stuff. And at the bottom, you do have the prices listed. Now,
yeah,
in US dollars, it's $95. And so you can see across the board. So it's 975 where you're located. If
yeah.
people are paying in euros, it's 85 Canadian, right? I mean, not Canadian. You don't have Canadian listed, but
British.
UK and all that stuff. So you're right. There's a huge difference. And I will say that, when we launched our boot camp, we're in the States. A majority of our clients come from the States or Canada. And we had a lot of people asking us about um, conversions and into different currencies. Specifically, in this last round of our boot camp enrollments, it was right at the very beginning. We were interesting in our timing with the launch of our boot camp because it was right at the very beginning when the US dollar to the Canadian dollar was swinging a different way. And so
Mm,
Canadians were not used to that yet. Now, if we ran the same promotion today, they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's just the way the currency is right now. They'd be used to it. But when we did our
mm.
launch, they were not used to it. And so they were like, wait, what? Because the currencies were so different than what they were expecting. So, a big part of it is expectations. That's one piece of it.
Mhm.
Another piece that I want to ask you is with your clientele, is there um, is there a certain demographic or a geography that your clients are located in, or do you truly attract people from all over the world?
Okay. I have clients from Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, obviously South Africa, and some of the British people who would pay in the UK sterling amount. They're the people and the Euro people where I started having queries about why is this so cheap?
Hmm.
As in, what's wrong with this?
Right, because if they were in the UK offering this same program to just people in the UK, they're going to price it at there's going to be a different number associated with it,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
significantly different.
Yep.
And I've had a few inquiries from US people who have a similar, who just say, we don't expect it to be live. We expected this to be something that's just online. So that's why I prefaced it by saying I think that I'm dealing with a perception management, not really a pricing issue.
That's right. Expectation. That's exactly what I was just mentioning earlier. It's not a pricing issue. It's an expectation, a communication of expectations. And the best way to handle that is straight up on your sales page, right?
Okay.
That's our approach. Whenever we have a situation like that that causes confusion, we address it right on the sales page. The best way to do that is in an FAQ kind of format. So let me see if I don't know if I can pull up. I don't know if it's active or not. Oh, I don't have the one that's active. I was looking for our boot camp sales page. I can't pull it up just yet. I will see if I can find it, and I will post it into the Coaches Console Members Mastermind Facebook group. Let me make a note. And you'll see on the sales page, whenever there was any confusion, because there's not just currency or pricing is a confusion, but there's going to be other elements that all of a sudden, you're going to start hearing the same people, I mean, not the same people, but different people, multiple people asking about the same thing. You're like, oh, wow, I guess I didn't clearly explain that on my sales page or in my email campaigns, right? And so the best way to do that is once you make the offer, right, on your sales page, then down below it, it's simply another bold header, much like this, right? So it's just another bold header that says frequently asked questions. And you literally ask those questions, like the US. Oh, wow, when I saw the price, I didn't realize this was live. I thought it was online. Why is that? And then right on the sales page in the answer, you can draft an answer that says, because we've priced this, because we're located in South Africa and we've priced it accordingly, the currency conversion is this. Therefore, it's not as much as you would normally anticipate. So you're getting a great deal, and this is what you get. And just recap that it is live and what they get. And you'll find, I mean, that's not how you'll word it, but you get the idea. Or the same with the UK. Wow, I'm in the UK and this seems crazy low. I don't think it's worth investing because the price is so low. Like, however they're asking that question, you put the question on there and then you write out the answer in just a short paragraph. Yep. And so you're managing those perceptions and you're clarifying the points of confusion. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this really quickly. With this program, how many people do you have? How many people do you want to buy this program? Let me ask it that way. What's your goal for how many people sign up for this program?
For the live one, 10.
Okay.
10 per group. 10 per group, and they're 4 groups.
4 groups that run simultaneously?
No, that run at separate times.
Okay, so like quarterly or something like that. Different times of the year.
No, they run in parallel. In other words, in the same week, there'll be 4 different times. One of the requests I've had is that people would like to have access to an online version where they can just simply listen in.
Yeah.
And don't. Yes, but that's not what I need to be doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you offer the 4 different times just to accommodate people in different time zones?
Yeah. Exactly. And also because there are different levels of expertise, but also different desires as to why people are wanting to do the group.
Got it. So you kind of group them so you have like-minded people in different groups and got it. Okay. So you're talking about 10 people per group. You're talking about 40 people, right? One of the comments that you made earlier is, if you leave off the price from your website, well, that seems like anti-automation. right? And you want to, well, anti-automation. When you're talking about enrolling 10 people per group, and there's 4 groups, so you're talking about 40 people, you can streamline everything else until the enrollment. And I see that you've got a booking form. So somebody is completing a form to enroll, right? They're not just clicking the buy now button. It's like they complete
No.
this form, and then based on what they complete, you or your team is getting in touch with them to complete that process. Um, so when you're talking about 40 individuals, and you can streamline everything else from the automation of the marketing campaign, the sales page, the follow-up, the client onboarding and engagement, having this one piece so that you can serve the widest audiences possible doesn't necessarily mean anti-automation. It just means that you want to customize it, right? So you have some flexibility. Now, if you told me I've got 400 people in this, we got to find a different solution, because you do need to automate that. But when you're talking about 40, 50 people, that's very doable, so that you can have as much automation as possible with customization, so that you can enroll the people that you want to enroll. Okay, so it's you don't have to go either or on that. Okay. Now
Melinda, that's very helpful, because it's so interesting how this hot seat works. Is that I've looked at this page often, and now when I look at it in this context, I immediately can see that the logic tells me when people send me their form, one of the things it says is which currency would you require your invoice in, and I at that point could be sending them the cost and all the other bits and pieces. And you're quite right about the numbers. So I think that's a really helpful takeaways for me to, is to really think about, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to have to customize this because of all kinds of exchange control and other bits and pieces, taxes and stuff. And so in some ways getting myself stuck around how to automate something that actually probably is better not to automate is actually just stupid.
It's that, well, I wouldn't call it stupid, but it's you're forcing something that doesn't need to be forced. Yeah.
Exactly.
I would still leave the pricing on the page, so that you have the expectation, and I would add the FAQs to clarify those confusing points, because it'll give better understanding to why they have to pick a currency and why you're doing that, and let your answers come from a place of, I want to be of service to you. I would definitely add those FAQs to the bottom of this. And then, so, you have this section here, and then you'll offer the FAQs. You'll repeat this same section, this book. So after the FAQs, you'll put this exact same content at the bottom.
Good.
Yep. So put it in both places.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep. Excellent. Good. Yeah. As much as we all love automation, there are some things that, in order to deliver what you want to deliver, you have to customize. And so when you do that, you look at, how can I streamline this as much as possible, like having a form so all your data is collected in one place, streamlining everything else. Now, I'll also say this. Here's a different approach. This would take more work on the front end, but could be easier on the back end. In your console system, right? So in your console system, you have your contacts. With each of your contacts in their profile, it has what country they're from. I don't know if that's filled out in all of your contacts or not.
Yeah.
But you can begin to create groups in your console system. You could call it the UK group, the Australian group, the Singapore group, the South African group. And you can set up 4 different sales pages and 4 duplicate email campaigns. so that only the people in
Wow.
Australia get the emails specific for Australia that show the Australia pricing and the Australian
Mm-hmm.
sales page and the Australian buy now button. And then you
Please,
duplicate. Say it again.
sorry, I follow the email story, but I don't understand how you can show people, would this be active clients, that you can show active clients different web pages?
Yeah, you can make it a permission and you can say only show
Ah,
this page to the Australian group. So the Singapore
okay,
group doesn't see it.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's very clever.
So that
I'd forgotten
it's
that.
very clever and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of work on the front end because now you're
Hmm.
duplicating your emails, you're duplicating your sales pages, you're managing those multiple sales pages, but in the execution of it, you can automate it all. Now, do you want to do that
Okay,
for 40 people? I don't know.
okay.
But when you start getting into larger groups or you're doing it more frequently, maybe
Hmm.
so. So I'll call that a more sophisticated way. Again, it's a lot of work on the front end and you've got to know what you're doing or have a certified virtual assistant or somebody on your team that really can manage it because now you just got to really pay attention because there's a lot of details that can slip through the cracks when you start doing that. We do that
Hmm.
quite a bit where we duplicate our sales pages and we'll have 3 variations of the same exact sales page. And we have a very specific segmented group of our list that only sees the sales page we want them to see.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's another strategy. I don't know if that's right for you, but I just want to throw it on the call so it's in this recording for other folks listening
Yeah.
in. Okay.
Uh, Melinda, I think it's great, and I can hear that it would need some judicious decision making about which particular programs or packages would be worth setting that up for,
Yep.
and then there would need to be very meticulous tracking
Yep.
to click the right, click the right little boxes. But I can see, for me, I could see that I wouldn't use that all of the time. I could use the customization and streamlining
Mm-hmm.
some of the time, but I think that there's a place for example, I run a big ACTP coaching training,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be very useful to segment that into different countries and just cut through all this drama about people not being able to figure out what the time zone is and the dates and how it works, and because it does work differently
Yep.
for different country groups. So thank you. That's very, very useful. I hadn't thought about doing it that way, but I can see that would need judicious decision making about, are you developing a system which isn't worth developing.
Yep. And
Yeah.
also judicious. I love that word, judicious checklists and either if
Mm,
it's not you, it could be you, but if it's not
yeah.
you, somebody on your team that is like crazy insane about details. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Marvelous. That's really good. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And we'll open it up to everybody else for just live Q&A time. If you have questions about the hot seat that we just went through about pricing and different currencies, um, you can ask questions about that. If there's questions about the coaching packages that we talked about in the early part of today's training, whatever questions you might have, you can type that into the webinar and I'll be happy to walk through that and answer that. And while we're waiting, Svea, for folks to type questions into the webinar box, what's one of your favorite frames from this hot seat?
Um, one of the things I will remember going forward is the incredible usefulness of having frequently asked questions in the language of what literally people say to me. And then, yeah, so that their voices are there, so that people immediately, readers of the web page, recognize
Mm-hmm.
those words, rather than my more low-key, trying to be reasonable, trying to deal with it all quite in quite a pragmatic way kind of voice. So I love that. I think that's really useful, and I really like the differentiation between streamlining and automation. the notion that you can still streamline in order to have the best of automation without the complication. So to maintain the customization part, that's really helpful.
Excellent. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because whether we're creating marketing, whether it's a free gift, whether creating content for a sales page, whether we're creating content for a program that we're offering, or the FAQs in their language. Don't reinvent that
Mm-hmm.
wheel. The more you can use their language, the more you relate to them. When they read it, they're like, oh my gosh, she was reading my mind. And it
Exactly.
creates that connection. So use their language. So that's excellent, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that that maintains the integrity, which for me is important. It doesn't sound like a hard sell where you're just trying to, in a way, change people's minds for them. As soon as I use their language, what people have genuinely said to me, I think people recognize it as, oh, yes, I thought that, and now I can change my own mind. And I think there's a level of integrity around that that I would like
mhm.
to
Yeah,
maintain, if
yeah.
at all possible. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, I'm going to mute you. We've got a couple more questions before we wrap up, but thanks for going for it for round two on the hot seat. Excellent
Thank you.
topic. All right, a couple questions that came in. Anne has a question. Any idea how to switch from hourly or monthly to project pricing? So, Anne, I have a technical clarification question. Do you mean how to switch it in your console system? Or I think what you mean is if you already have, let's say you've got 5 clients and they've been paying you by the month, and now you want to switch to per project. So let me know. Um, okay, yep, that's second. Okay, excellent. So you already have some people that are paying you by the month, and now you want to switch to package pricing. The easiest way to do that is this. For any existing clients, you grandfather them in. As long as they remain active paying clients of yours, for however long they're active paying clients of yours, you grandfather them in at that monthly rate. That's the easiest, most generous way to do it. Okay. Now, if you are seriously underpricing your services and you've come into that realization, you're like, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm doing that. Then you put a time frame on it and you say you're grandfathered in for a year, right? A year. That's a pretty generous amount of time, but there's a finite end date. So that if they're still an active paying client of yours after a year, they're going to convert to your new pricing model. So all existing clients are, um, if they're paying by the month, you just let them keep paying however they're doing it, but you implement the new packaging model for any new clients. Okay. So any new clients, you're gonna charge them by the package. This is what they get, so on and so forth. But just grandfather them in. That's it. That's the easiest way to do it. Clients love it. They feel very honored and appreciative of it. Um, and it allows you to make that switch super easy. Okay, another question that came in. I'm going to sneak this one in. We're at the top of the hour, but I'm going to get Jacqueline's question in. Jacqueline says, when my clients call me, their stress level is a 10 out of 10. Good grief. They are desperate to talk to me and crave the human contact. How would I send them to an automated package without putting them off? Okay, Jacqueline, I need some clarity really quickly. Your clients call you, their stress level is a 10 out of 10. When I read that, my assumption is when they call you for their coaching session. So if you meet with them, when you meet with them like once a month um, or once a week, whatever it is, whenever you have their coaching session, they are completely frazzled, right? Um, and hang on a second. Okay, so Jacqueline deals with the diagnosis of cancer, and they've just received that they've had a diagnosis of cancer. And so, Jacqueline, when they call you, they're having that initial consultation with you. Is that right? On what they need to start doing now that they have this diagnosis. So they're doing that initial consultation with you. So that initial consultation, you want to make it super compassionate, super generous, and just put all of your attention on them, giving them kind of the breakdown of the steps they're about to take with you, assuring them that you're going to walk them step by step through this process you're about to take them through. And so it's a highly personal, highly customized initial call. And then you let them know that because you are so skilled in this area, you know exactly the process to take them through, and you've put this in a package. And this package, it doesn't mean the package is automated, right? And so they're still going to be in touch with you for one-on-one sessions. They're still going to have access to you through the client log, right? So it's not automated in that you are 100% removed, I don't think. And so in that initial consultation, that 30 minutes, is that what that is? That initial consultation with you is 30 minutes. Um, you know, Jacqueline, I would, here's what Kate and I do, and I think you would also fall in this. We do 40-minute sessions, but we book an hour, right? So if we go over a little bit, we've got a little cushion there, depending on the person or the scenario. I think I would do the same for you. 30 minutes, psychologically, 30 minutes is, oh crap, we don't have much time. Shit. And it creates this panic of, oh my God, I got to get everything in 30 minutes. And it continues to heighten their anxiety. Whereas if you say the psychology of 40 minutes or 45 minutes, it's like, okay, we don't have quite an hour, but we've got 45 minutes together. And so the psychology of that is a little greater. The psychology of an hour is, wow, we've got a big fat hour together. A lot can happen in an hour. So I might have you adjust from 30 minutes to 40 minutes just from the psychological effect, because they've just had a diagnosis of cancer. They're calling you stressed out 10 out of 10. The psychology of a 40-minute session is going to immediately, with that little change, begin to ease them instead of jack it up even more, right? And then the other piece I'm not quite clear on is you say, how would I send them to an automated package? My assumption is that you're sending them to your coaching package, right? They're going to work with you for 3 months or 6 months. They're going to pay in full or do installment options. Is that right? Yes. Okay. So the package is not automated. The agreement is automated. The autoresponders, engaging them is automated. They have access to your secure private client portal, but they still have access to you one-on-one for your sessions. They still have access to you through the client log. And I would really highlight the effectiveness of the client log in between the sessions, right? So you're not putting them off just because you are automating the administration of delivering the agreement, delivering the autoresponders. You are still very much engaged. Like with my clients, I am still very much engaged. They get to meet with me one-on-one to the degree, and this is what I tell my clients, to the degree that you use the client log, I will be there. If you are in there 5 times a day, I will respond to you 5 times a day. If you use it once a week, I'll respond once a week. To the degree that you use it, I will be there supporting you. And then you put it on them so that if they need that contact and they want that contact with you, they have it. Most of the time, they don't abuse it. Okay. Does that help, Jacqueline? Does that kind of frame that up for you a little differently? Yep. Jacqueline says, thank you for the clarity. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. I'd really research doing the 40-minute sessions, or, maybe 45. 40 is what we do. It's fine. Just for the psychology of it. I'd make that change for sure. All right. We're going to get one more in, because I just want to squeeze this in. Terry asked one more question. Please review the actual method of payment options. The sample coaching agreement says they complete the credit card authorization form. Then I would manually enter their payment every month, right? If they don't want to pay by credit card, I assume they mail a check every month, and I manually enter it. In what circumstance would they go online and enter their credit card info themselves? That's a personal preference, Terry, and I'll use Kate and I as an example. So when you create the coaching agreement, I'm going to go to invoicing. You can do the automated invoicing so that your client receives an invoice every month. Now, my personal preference is I don't want my clients dealing with administrative stuff. I just want them focusing on the coaching, their homework, and their commitments. Me or my team, we're going to deal with the administrative stuff. And so every month, while an invoice is generated, what I actually choose is manual invoicing, because I don't want to send an invoice to my clients. I create an invoice every month. I log in as them and I enter their credit card information. I or my team, right? And I enter that they authorize me through the credit card authorization form. So that's one way to do it, because I want to handle that. Now, Kate, on the other hand, she's like, nope, my clients are going to do this. She sets up the automated invoicing. Every month they get an invoice, and her clients, when they log into her private client portal, they enter their credit card information and they pay their invoice. So it's two options for personal preference and style or approach. So whatever your personal approach is, go for it. Whatever works best for you and your clients, choose that one. That's what I used to do with the credit card authorization form and the manual invoicing. That's how I used to do it. Now what do is when I set up an agreement, I choose manual invoicing. So when somebody accepts my agreement, no invoice gets generated. While I'm on the phone with them, I get their credit card number and billing information, and I have set up in my shopping cart, I've set up if they want to pay in full, there's my pay in full package. And I go to the link and I enter their credit card information, or I can send them the link and say, okay, you've made the agreement. Now in the first autoresponder, here's the link to pay for your services, right? So again, it's just a preference. Do you want to be responsible for the administration, or do you want your clients? That's the biggest question to answer, okay? All right. Yeah. Let me just repeat that one more time. In your console system, there's a credit card authorization form, there's the automated invoicing, there's the manual invoicing, there's the shopping cart products. We give you a number of different ways that your clients can pay, not intending that you use all of them, but what is your preference? What's your style of business? And then picking that option that's best for you and your clients. So that's a great question, Terry. Thanks for bringing that one up. Okay, now we do have to wrap up, and I always forget this, so I'm going to remember this today. I'm going to turn my webcam back on. Okay, there we go. So I want to thank everybody for another great topic. Thank you, Svea, for being greedy and going for it on round 2 of Hot Seat, and for Jacqueline and Terry and Ann and the others that asked questions, and for being here and just being so committed to your business and setting up and running your business in the best way possible so you can be of service to your clients. You guys are doing amazing work in this world, and it's an honor and privilege, as always, to be of service to you and helping you be magnificent business owners. So thank you. We will be back here next week for another great hot seat. And let me give you just a little tip about the hot seat. You don't have to know what your question is. You don't have to know what it is you need. The only thing you have to know is, what am I stuck on? Like if you're sitting at your desk and you're like, gosh, I don't know how, or you're banging your head against the wall because you can't figure something out, or you keep running into the same challenge, all you have to do is when Angie sends out that announcement for a hot seat, say, I'm stuck on, and then just do a dump, like, bleh, I'm stuck on this. Do something with this, and we'll take it and run with you. So you don't have to be crystal clear on exactly what you want, or just let us have it, because these hot seats are magnificent when it comes to continuing to move forward in your business. All right, everybody, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.